Welcome back for another helping of Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. I am Ross Bolen, here with my buddy, Mr. Barrett Dudley, to bring you the best TV shows and movies weekly in an easily digestible podcast packed with laughs. Barrett, we're back in the studio as the world crumbles around us, but at least we have good TV and movies to watch.
That's right. This is really the only place that I feel safe anymore.
That might sadly be true for me.
And I'm just glad that we are able, at the current moment, to still provide the population out there, the clam fam, most importantly of all,
indeed,
with this type of entertainment and escape,
indeed,
from
reality,
from reality and from the crazy things that are going on out there. Because Ross, I don't know if you've heard this, but out there, just beyond these doors, it's Robot Month.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people are just freaking out about this, and I know that you need to come here and you need to listen to this podcast because it's Robot Month and it's really sending everybody for a loop.
Oh,
and,
the AI,
there's just too much AI out there, and we have to contain and suppress the spread of the robots.
Now, it's important to remember as you're out there battling these robots that we're here for you. And we're going to take your mind off of the real world and the throes of reality with very calming and soothing shows about the world ending in very different ways.
Yeah.
Such as Westworld and Devs.
Yes. Yeah.
The two shows we're referencing when we call it Robot Month. And Curb Your Enthusiasm.
When we did Ex Machina, also part of Robot Month.
True.
Yeah.
You could argue that the toilets Larry has invented are robots.
They've got some robotics going on.
Sure they do, for the Big Johnsons.
The sex doll, kind of a precursor to a robot in a way.
Early version.
Early versions of fake.
Like the first Ex Machina one you see on the wall.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, you see the progression?
Yes,
that's the first one.
That's the first one, yeah. So
Larry trying to deflate it with his pelvis. Why, Larry? Oh, God. We're talking about the 9th episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm's 10th season today. We only have one more episode of Curb to laugh at next week, which is sad but true. Devs, Season 1, Episode 1. The newest FX production. It's on Hulu with FX or whatever as well. If you hated the FX app, many people have complained about it.
Devs on FX on Hulu.
Yes.
That's how it goes. That's the order.
Not at all confusing.
Not at all. Not at all.
And also we're going to say a few words about Westworld as well, since Season 3 premiered this past Sunday. Also, as I've said, we watch a lot of TV and movies, ton of it. It's going to be even more of it now, Barrett. We're not even allowed to leave our homes. Television and movies are our only friends, and that's why this episode of OCC is brought to you by Felix Gray glasses, because we constantly have our faces in screens from morning to night, computer screens, phone screens, TV screens, gaming PCs, all these different screens, and they have blue light that comes through them, and that blue light is bad. By the end of the day, it makes my eyes tired, dry, I have headaches, blurry vision, trouble sleeping, which is why I'm wearing these Felix Grays right now. These are the Faraday frames and clear, as you can see.
You've been getting lots of...
I've gotten compliments.
Lots of compliments on
Many
those bad
people
boys.
have said I look like a scientist. Maybe I could solve this whole problem.
Yeah. Maybe you could build a robot.
Perhaps communicate with the robots.
Yeah, something like that.
Many people have been saying these things.
You've gotten the opportunity to do one of my favorite things on Instagram, which is to... post something, cool that you're either doing or wearing.
Sure.
And then, but not say anything about it.
Right.
Just so that a few slides later you can go,
hey.
For everybody asking.
Yeah.
You get to throw it out there that a lot of people have asked you about. Again, for everybody asking, the lotion that I was putting on my face is from Kiehl's.
Yeah. For everybody else, no, those were the clear Faraday frames from Felix Gray. Also, swipe up and use this code. No, it was very subtle, Barrett. Very subtle.
Yeah, no, but I love that.
Of course, they're beautiful glasses.
The frames look great on you.
Thank you, sir. Felix Gray is great. They filter out 90% of high-energy blue light, eliminate 99% of the harsh glare coming from screens. Unlike other brands who use cheap blue light coatings that are ineffective, it can chip or scratch. Felix Gray uses a proprietary blue light technology embedded directly into the lens. They're available in prescription, non-prescription, readers. Felix Gray has you covered with optical glasses for work, sleep glasses in the evening that are clinically proven to increase melatonin secretion when worn leading up to bedtime, which is dope. Why would you buy glasses from a company whose sole focus isn't making glasses? I trust Felix Gray because they make the best blue light glasses in the game. Go to felixgrayglasses.com/OCC and get a pair of blue light glasses from the pros today. Shipping and returns are totally free. That's FELIXGRAY glasses.com/OCC. felixgrayglasses.com/OCC. In the month of March on patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles, we are bringing you 4 extra episodes if you're a member of the Mollusk Militia, 3 if you're a member of the Crustacean Nation. Barrett, so far we've done our top 5 living actors argument, a phenomenal hour of conversation between the two of us in which you also provided a very scientific and mathematical method.
Wow. And all of the hubbub, what with it being Robot Month, I still have not even put my Excel doc, my Google Sheet on the Patreon.
Oh fuck! Really?
Yeah. Somebody kicked my ass, and I'm
not gonna do it
because I'm going to. My computer just died. Otherwise, I would get it out right now and do it right this second. But I will do it.
There's no rush, sir.
I will do it.
These people got plenty of time.
That's right.
We all do.
I just want to. I want to parse it out. I want to. I want to be slow with the.
With the release.
With the release,
yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
We did Ex Machina as our throwback movie club as part of Robot Month, as you mentioned. It was phenomenal. We had a great time looking at how the AI stuff there plays into and discussing how it might, the differences between Westworld and of course now we have devs to compare it to. We were going to go see The Hunt, but then this thing struck and we were like, well, fuck the movie theater.
Yeah.
Although we love the movie theater.
We did our civic duty.
We stayed home.
It didn't feel right.
And the news is that apparently these movie production companies are seeing, obviously, well, we don't want this as a problem. We need to make money still. So they're going to be releasing all these for us to be able to rent, I believe.
That's right.
So we'll get to watch it anyway, just from the comfort of our homes, without some psycho coughing up a loogie on the back of our heads.
At some point near future, we will do The Hunt.
Oh, yeah.
We will watch The Hunt.
And then the Hotline Call Extravaganza, of course, will be your last episode of the month if you're a member of the Mollusk Militia on patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles, where you can support this podcast and in exchange get additional OCC ad-free each and every month and keep us on the air. Patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles.
Should we do our announcement?
Would you like to?
Yeah.
Right now?
Or do you want to
save
that
It's a really
for
big
later?
announcement.
Do you want to save that for a little later? Let's save it for a little later.
Into the show.
Okay.
Into the show, Barrett and I have a huge announcement about what we're going to be doing on Patreon moving forward. We've got something very special for y'all that is going to get you through this shit.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say for now.
That's our goal.
That's our goal.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
Curb Your Enthusiasm, 10th season, 9th episode, Beep Panic.
Beep Panic. Ross, we're sounding like broken records, or at least I'm going to sound like a broken record on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is one of the issues with breaking down comedies on the pod, episode by episode. And I think Curb is one of the better ones to do it because he touches on so much, so many things that are culturally relevant.
Sure.
But this was just another fastball, man. I literally didn't stop laughing the entire 36 minutes. I'm just sitting there like a little kid, giggling at everything that is happening.
You know what I found
on screen, and it was just another. I mean, that was 36 minutes of like escape from the issues out there. You know what I mean?
This is
the
huge. Ticket, Barrett. That's why we're opening with Curb today. I felt like it was important.
Yeah.
Because it did the same for me. And here's what I've noticed. You know how you and I were talking the first couple episodes of the season? It's like there was this. The episode 1 was phenomenal. There was kind of a couple misses in there, and we were just like, some of these jokes may be a little forced. I have not felt that in a couple episodes now because I think you get back in like the Curb zone.
Sure.
Where the comedy really hits for all of us because we're used to it again. Larry's back. It's been so fucking long.
Yeah.
So now it's like, dude, everything hits on these. I'm not a single thing am I like, that's fucking stupid. Yeah. I'm just like, it's all stupid and it's all hilarious.
I mean, this episode was especially good for the things where you're like, oh, that's so true about society.
Yeah.
On the way over here, I saw somebody get beat panic, basically.
And
where somebody's looking down at their phone and gets their ass honked at. It probably happens to me once a week, maybe.
I won't lie, dude.
It definitely happens. I I don't text while I drive, but I'm very guilty about like hitting a stoplight and getting out the phone.
It just happened to me.
Yeah.
On the way here. But I didn't get beat panic because there was nobody behind me. It was whatever the opposite of that is, silence panic, because I was staring down at my phone and then I looked up and everyone was gone and the light was green and I was like, ah! And just like slammed on the gas and went through.
You know what's another funny thing about like the whole beat panic thing? We're so damn addicted to these things. Is it's like, in almost all situations, you just want to hit greens, right? Isn't that ideal? You going across town, you hit every single green. It's just like the best thing that could possibly happen. It cuts out like a few minutes. But when I have something that I want to respond to, or like a group text is blowing up, I'll get to a red and I'll like pull the phone out, and it's my time. I got my response. I got my response, and then of course that red light only lasts like 18 seconds, and you haven't finished your thought, and you don't get the text out, and you didn't get to be like right there in the middle of it with the bubbling, and you're gonna be like 15 minutes late on this text group now, and
you're not getting the endorphins.
Yeah, and the moment has passed, and now your joke's not gonna land with your friends, and it's just like, God damn it, red light, be a minute this time. And it never is, and that's...
You need that time for texting.
That's part of it. That's part of it.
And then the beep panic comes with the honking. What the hell else happened? So the Larry Mocha Joe feud escalates.
Oh, God. It's so good.
So well in this episode.
Ted Danson being a fan of Latte Larry's, being like a secret fan, was a great twist.
Everything,
like, oh, you want a cup of coffee to go? From here? No, I'm good.
No, I'm good. He's an investor. He fucking owns part of the restaurant. Doesn't even want the coffee.
The wobbly tables start getting to him. That all landed really, really well. You got Leon as the Beanmeister.
Yo, I'm not gonna fuck with the diarrhea scene. Was maybe the hardest I've ever laughed at the show. Leon's reaction to the bubbling up in his stomach after they crushed too much licorice was just one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah,
bro. Both of them trying to get through it.
Yep.
Mocha Joe fucking sitting there.
All the slow motion with everybody's faces watching the sweat about to drop in the soup. I mean,
God.
I was dying laughing at that. It's just those reaction shots. By the way, Vince Vaughn,
dude,
just crushing a classic Vince Vaughn character here.
This is very, very big for him, I feel.
Yeah, he is so funny in this, and it's like subtle, you know?
Yes,
he doesn't even have that many lines.
He's just a weirdo.
But he's so funny. That's another big, we've heard this from Bill Simmons and from all sorts of sports guys, and from Friday Beers has it as one of their characters, but Glue Guy is absolutely a real thing.
Oh, for
it's
sure.
Very relatable as well.
That was super cool that they made Jeff the glue guy too, because that's he is their glue guy for sure. Like if Jeff's not going because Susie's a bitch, the trip's not happening.
Yeah.
I love the glue guy.
Oh God, being happy that you're going to get a few days to yourself and being overly happy about it and then sabotaging it.
Yep. Also,
this episode just hit, man.
The Lexus
hit really
dealership.
well.
The free stuff at nice places is always a weird struggle, and the concept of Larry taking his Lexus in like weekly and just throwing the keys to somebody and being like, there's a thing with the thing, and then going straight for this licorice that then inevitably is Bavarian licorice that gives you diarrhea. Richard Lewis playing a special needs person in what was this fucking play called? Flowers for Algernon. Which is a book, right?
Yeah.
That we all read in like middle school.
Uh-huh.
And they do the whole like never go full R word thing with Richard Lewis, and then he gets diarrhea like in the middle of the performance, and Larry's in the crowd shaking his head, dude. It's like,
yeah,
that's it,
dude.
We've done the thing again where we talk about all the funnies,
all the funny stuff. Yeah, exactly.
It's fun to relive it for a minute.
It is, and this this one just really, really worked. Had another big cameo from, I always get the two from Broad City. I get their names mixed up. Was that Ilana Glazer? Nope, it was the other one.
Ted Danson saying, finally using that he was in Cheers to try to get people to come to the coffee shop was a big moment for me as well. He's never mentioned Cheers, has he? I don't think they've ever made a Cheers joke.
You know, Cheers, Becker.
Yeah, he throws Becker out too.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Who are you
Abby
looking for?
Jacobson. Abby
Oh,
Jacobson
okay. Yeah. The sweaty waitress.
was the sweaty waitress.
Who then
yes.
Larry, he can't stop giving people
he's now-
houses and cars.
Yeah, they run that one back, but with a car this time.
And then she crashes it into him, which was just
Into
like
his brand new. He was way too. I liked the. Thought it was great how Larry. We've talked about how he kind of isn't afraid to go with like rich dude issues.
right now
in
he's
this
for
one-
sure leaned into wealthy people problems. Yeah.
Right, and he's so obsessed with this licorice and so offended by the sales guy catching on to it that he's willing to drop 6 figures on a new BMW i8.
Just despite the guy.
Just despite- yeah,
Now he
just
has a spite store.
yeah.
And a
Yeah,
spite
just
sports
to
car.
prove this guy that he's not just here for the licorice. That there is something wrong with the car.
He literally spends hundreds of thousands of dollars to accomplish this, and then immediately wrecks it.
But then you wrecked that car. He was pretty chill about that.
about all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just he has too much money.
But
He just doesn't get it
maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he was just there. He really was just there for the licorice. He's not. It's okay,
Fucking ridiculous.
And then, lo and behold,
tight car though.
he's got to buy the car that he already had, which he gave away. Him explaining that to Leon was also while they sit there and eat all the licorice was.
Fucking dude. And they've pulled Leon to this place where he's being utilized perfectly, just the
Yes.
right amount every episode, and it's gold.
Yeah.
And his face isn't shit when he's about to poop his pants, man. I mean, I was dying. Great episode of Curb, beat Panic. Can't wait for the finale to see how they wrap up this whole saga with Latte Larry and Mocha Joe. Mocha Joe's mom noticeably absent from the last couple episodes. I miss her. But yeah, looking forward to the finale. You want to move on to our first episode ever of Devs?
Oh, Mocha Joe's mom was about to watch that one show with, or that one movie
yeah.
with him. So
Okay,
she had a brief appearance.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're correct, sir. Ready to move on to Devs?
Yeah. Let's talk devs.
So first of all, let's talk about how long Devs has been out. This is it's once a week on Thursday, I believe. Is that correct? That they drop new episodes?
I'm actually not positive, but I
think
know
that's true.
It started near the beginning of March, and I think that there are 4 episodes out already.
I believe the fifth is out as well.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's all of them.
So I originally thought that Dev season 1 was only 4 episodes because that is what was listed on Hulu.
Okay, so
But
it's,
now
there's
I am
a fifth listed.
Now I am more keenly aware that they are listing the next episode about a week-ish before it gets released.
Ah,
So I actually don't know how long this season of Devs is. Probably more like a typical length of an hour-long drama. So probably 8 or 10 episodes, I'm guessing.
okay. It's called a miniseries.
Okay. All
So
right.
I was
See? Well,
like,
then
wait a
I
minute.
don't really know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
so I'm trying to find a thing that definitively says how many episodes there are going to be in this freaking season, but not 8 episodes. There we
8
go.
episodes. Okay, there you go.
Okay, so yeah, same thing happened to me, but I was like, oh shit, the 5th one's already out. That must be it. That must be the finale miniseries. Maybe there's only 5. I don't know. Okay, good. So there's 8. Barrett and I have watched episode 1.
Yeah, I know that a lot of you guys that are watching Devs are probably a little bit further, but I thought it was important to just kind of
Get the beginning.
get
right?
that first dose, start talking about it, and then I think as the weeks go by, we can probably do a couple episodes until we're kind of at a time until we're caught up,
Yes, sir.
which should be in the next couple of weeks, I would surmise.
So we meet 2 software engineers to start the show, Lily and Sergey. They are dating, or they are partners, as they put it.
Yeah.
And they live in this badass, not futuristic, but nice apartment together. There's a homeless guy on the doorstep.
Yeah, we're very clearly from the get-go. They set the, by the way,
They set the tone, yeah.
we're Bay Area. We're San Francisco. That is very clear from the get-go. One of the first things that they put on screen for you is the homeless problem.
Yep.
And how these people are they literally just know the homeless dude that sleeps on their doorstep.
He's like
at this
their
point.
boy.
Yeah.
Like they're buddies.
Which is just, it was,
That's another level.
yeah, it was certainly, and it really it was very relevant, I guess.
Oh, God,
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
No, for
because
sure.
we know how big of an issue that is in all sorts of cities, ours included. So I thought that was interesting. And they get on the bus to Omaya. Is it Omaya?
Amaya, yeah.
Which again, this is very much like a thing. Google's campus is not in San Francisco. You get on a thing
And it's out in a little remote location.
right? And it's out further away in the Bay Area, 45 minutes away, on this massive, massive campus.
Right.
So right off the bat, I thought that was interesting because this is Alex Garland again, same guy that did Ex Machina.
Yes.
And so Amaya is basically just a continuation of Blue Book.
A little bit, right?
Because it's basically Google again.
That's basically what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is really, really interesting that we're still playing with that sort of thread. And it's also the sort of thread we're at in Westworld as well. So it's like everybody's trying to see what are we doing with AI and data and robots and how is this all going to play and yada, yada.
Sure.
It's sort of inspiring these incredible stories. And in this case, other than we get the setup, we're in this very, it's the real world.
Yes.
Like you mentioned, it's gritty. There's a lot of issues and shit, but we're definitely in a futuristic. I don't know are we supposed to say like that exists present day, or this is maybe slightly into the future?
Yeah,
I don't know.
If it's supposed to be in the future, I wouldn't say that it's. And I don't think
supposed to be far. No,
I don't think we've gotten any years or anything.
No, I
yet.
don't think so.
But like maybe this is pitched 5 years in the future.
Perhaps something like that.
Like
Not far.
it's modern. It's not supposed to be like hyper futuristic.
Right.
Like Westworld is, for example.
Right.
Which is 30 years in the future.
So Amaya is the company. And if I'm reading this correctly, it seems Nick Offerman's character, which his name is, the fuck is his name? I don't know. I'll pull it up in a second. He has lost a daughter, perhaps. Maybe Amaya is his daughter. We keep seeing this little girl statue
the
thing.
Huge-ass, creepy-ass girl thing.
Realistic doll thing, statue fucking giant. But then it's like she's all over the place too, right?
Right, yeah.
And at one point, the chick from the newsroom says to Nick Offerman something about losing a kid, and then says, "That was clumsy of me. I'm sorry."
Oh.
And I got the impression perhaps that's his daughter he lost. That is all of this is about her to him.
Okay, that is you're blowing my mind here.
I'm not positive about this. This is my take.
I did not pick up on any of that, but it makes a lot of sense.
I was high, so I was on another wavelength.
Also very much contributes to that changes my perception about what I'm currently thinking devs might be.
Well, what were you currently thinking devs might be? Because I had basically nothing.
Okay.
Other than it has something to do with like either... No, you do you.
Okay, so we just to jump to the end, what is devs?
Yeah,
what is going on here? Devs seems like it's kind of one of two things, or maybe a combination of these two things. My first reaction was that it's devs is working on cloning of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
That was led. I was led there because we get the CCTV.
We get a murder scene. This
of
man is
Sergey.
He's clearly murdered. We watch him literally have to take his last breath.
Yeah.
Fucking brutal.
Yes.
Didn't need that, but
Nope.
thanks. And then so he that was so deliberate, right? He's gone.
He's dead.
And the next thing we know, we're watching Mans on CCTV light himself on fire like a monk.
Yeah. So that's and they have him walking around. They have him walking to the highway.
And as his girlfriend points out, very deliberately, which goes with what everything he's saying about Nick Offerman explaining. By the way, the CEO he's just the CEO, I think.
Okay.
The universe is deterministic. That we believe we have free will, but we don't because the tram lines are invisible, as he puts it, which is sort of the same concept in Westworld as well, right? This machine, this computer in Westworld was supposed to provide everybody with a path.
Right.
And that's sort of what he's implying, that we all this is predetermined and we think it's not.
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah.
And that really made me wonder how that could have to do with devs as well.
Yeah. So, yes. So that's the second piece of this. My first thought was cloning, and then Laura actually pointed out that she thought it was more like another piece of a furthering of what Sergey had been working on, which was basically predictive AI, essentially able to
10 seconds into the future.
Yeah, essentially able to look into the future. And the fact that they catch Sergey immediately stealing the code with his James Bond watch, as Nick Offerman says, made me
sick burn.
Made me think that. And Laura pointed this out, that, they've basically already developed that technology, essentially. And it's so far advanced that when he says to Allison Pill, like, is this code for real? Is this theory? Or is this like actually, is this
usable?
Is this real life? Is this And he says, because if it's real, it changes everything. And she says, no, actually, if it is real, and that means that literally nothing changes at all. Now I'm thinking that it's this whole, the tram lines thing, that they're basically predicting the future. They can predict the future for almost any individual that they want to.
Which is interesting because it's almost like, okay, maybe it was a scenario where he felt he could have stopped his daughter's death, and then his goal became to be able to figure out a way to avoid this.
Right, and so both of the things could play in.
Yeah.
If he can clone, if it's cloning, then he could recreate his daughter.
There's a version of that. We know there's something. Maybe it's reanimation. Maybe it's cloning. Maybe it's holographic. We don't know. But they show dude walking and then light himself on fire. And then here's the catch, Barrett. They show the fucking body.
Yeah.
So when she runs out there, I'm like, oh, it's not going to be there. She's going to see this was...
Right, like this was some fake...
CGI or something.
CGI stuff, yeah.
No. Man's is there. He's burnt. So that was a big, big moment where you're like, okay, what happened here?
Yeah.
And I wonder if we will ever find out exactly what the Sergei situation was. Because what was your feel from when he's looking through the code and you can tell, I mean, just based on the music and the tone and his face, whatever he's looking at,
and he goes and throws up in the bathroom.
He literally gets sick from it. And then he immediately decides, this is day one on the job. He's like, well, I have to steal this. And immediately gets caught and murdered. It must have been big enough to where, why steal it, I guess? What did he think there? What was going on?
Yeah, I don't...
Was it the morality of it?
Did he
see it and go, holy shit, this is wrong?
Maybe.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out.
I think that... I certainly... I don't know. This episode kind of gives you a lot to chew on, and I think that either one of these paths or both, about what Devs is doing, will probably have some grains of truth. I think when we get to the end, one of these two things, possibly both, will at least be sort of right.
Okay.
But I definitely think that they're going to string that along.
Oh, for sure. That'll be the season.
For the season, right?
Yeah.
I certainly... another thing that I started scratching my head about is, the head of security, right? He's a little nervous because this dude is a Russian. His girlfriend has Chinese heritage. That doesn't look great on paper to him.
Yes.
He
doesn't like the Russians and the Chinese.
And then Sergei, with his fancy-ass
wristwatch,
code-stealing watch, was he some type of, operative?
Here's a great question. That one that you just presented.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be...
And was he able to get the code out to his Sudoku app on the phone?
Because she gets his cell phone. She wipes her own cell phone.
Or an old cell phone,
maybe.
An old cell phone. I think she grabs one out of a drawer.
Logs it into his account because she has all his passwords, which you have to have imagined they should have potentially... Well, the thing is, it's hidden in that damn Sudoku app.
Right.
She's like, this fool doesn't
She doesn't know this one.
He hates Sudoku.
Right.
So it was obvious to her. And then she's got two more shots at the password, and she's not used them yet, so she's going to obviously need to figure those out. By the way, if you've never locked yourself out of your iPhone or your Apple Watch, I once got up to 2 days between attempts. So you get to a point where you've missed so many times on my Apple Watch. This legit happened, where it was like, nah, come back tomorrow. And then I came back tomorrow, and it didn't work, and it was like, nah, come back in 2 days next time, bitch. Figure it out. It just started, openly mocking me. It was awful. But yeah, I feel for her trying to figure out those passwords. Good luck. That's going to be tough.
I mean, that's pretty much episode 1.
And that's the setup, is that she is now going to be the one going to figure out, what's her name, Lily?
Investigating, kind of trying to figure this whole thing out. I was certainly surprised by the quick Sergei exit.
Thought he was going to be our dude.
Thought he was going to be our dude. I thought this episode was a pretty good hook. There were some curiosities in the way a few things were written. And I was surprised because something like Ex Machina is so well written. There's not we talked about that, about the subtleties of the conversations in that show, right?
Yes.
It was so well executed. And the one specifically really, really took me out of the show. It was so bad.
What was that?
When she sits down with the ex-boyfriend and he spouts off this monologue that literally serves no other purpose other than to be expository, other than to tell the audience exactly what their relationship was. And so we talk about that, those moments of exposition in TV shows where they're kind of necessary, right?
Sure.
Like the show needs to tell us some piece of the plot or explain something to us, and so they have somebody say something that they wouldn't actually say in real life. But this one didn't really seem to. It didn't have like this back end to it where it was like, okay, I understand why we neneeded to know that.
So what does he say?
So
He's
he
like,
sits down and he's like, she tells him that that she needs help cracking this password, and he says, He's like, so you're telling me that this is what happened? We started going out like 2 years ago, and then he basically just like runs down their entire relationship up through what happened, her taking a new job, her finding a new boyfriend, her leaving, her like, and it's like,
we got caught up to speed real quick there.
That is so far from what you would say to your ex-girlfriend in that moment, right?
Well, I think it depends how long ago that was, too.
Like she was there, bro. She did all that. You don't need to recount all of the little minutia that went into it in this conversation at the bar.
Sure.
And it was just a weird moment because it seems like they could have cut that in half and been like, it's been 2 years. We had a fucking huge fallout.
What the fuck?
You treated me like shit. You dumped me after you got a new job, and now you're sitting here, and it's
That's
like
how it would
that.
go.
Yeah,
that's
right.
more how it would go. What the fuck? Are you serious? All this shit happened between us, and now you're asking me for a fucking favor? You wouldn't like run down calmly how it happened.
Exactly. So that was a weird kind of whiff, I thought.
That was a strange interaction,
but
I did feel
it really was the only one that I thought was like egregious.
And it was to
manner.
guilt her, right? He's just trying to make her feel bad.
I guess, yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to help?
I don't know. He leaves.
We don't find out there.
Seems like we haven't seen the last of him.
I wouldn't think so. It'd be weird to introduce him and have him spout
and
all
have
that
him
out.
say that
and then not
bring
him
him
again.
back.
He's got to be a character that has that gets in there.
Yeah.
It definitely hooked me, man, because it's one of those shows where as I'm watching it, like for first 30 minutes, I'm like, I don't have the slightest clue what is going on right now, and I don't know if I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the end of it, I was like, okay.
So
if I can feel what you're doing, typically by the end of the episode 1 or whatever, like you've accomplished something, especially if I have no clue what the fuck is going on the rest of the episode. And I didn't really, like, between when they go to the dev center for the first time, when Nick Offerman walks him out there to it, that whole, like, it's just this almost fantastical experience, like through this forest with these halos around these trees. What is all this?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool to have a world built where you don't understand any of what's going on, but you're also very interested in these characters and the situation they've developed through one episode. It's a good job.
There are a lot of cool visuals here, and they're kind of ones that like are a little bit dissonant in the fact that they don't really make sense to you. Mm-hmm. Like the whole, he basically has a giant ass version of Big Tex, except for it's a young daughter, like so big that it's poking up over the forest.
Fucking trees, yeah, dude.
And that is like,
it's creepy.
It's just
too.
weird. That doesn't make sense at this big tech company, and so it's like, it kind of gets under your skin a little bit.
Yeah, it makes you feel creepy. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was cool. You mentioned the halos, like all the gold.
Yeah.
Kind of the gold pillars in front of devs.
His explanation of the security in the building that you literally are transferred through an air vacuum sealed pocket to get into the room, like all that shit was mind blowing to the degree that I was like, cannot comprehend. And then by the end of the episode, I was like, need episode 2.
Yeah.
Must record OCC so I can watch without slipping and saying things that happen in episode 2.
Allison Pill definitely goes on like my Edward Norton list. Is just like, I just can't like you because you're so good at being somebody on screen that I don't like.
That's fair.
Yeah. And then
I'm a fan of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like her. She's okay. We'll see how this. Here's the thing.
She's good at being like cloying and annoying and like.
Yeah, she sort of pokes at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
And then I love Nick Offerman kind of getting this chance to play, not necessarily against type, but definitely something different for him.
Yeah, I would argue, yeah. His name's Forrest, by the way.
It was also just really, really fun watching Ron Swanson would never even touch a vegetable if his life depends on it, stuffing kale in his face with it, just eating straight
leaves, bro.
Just eating leaves
with his fucking fingers, just like he looked like a triceratops eating leaves there. Also, his hair and facial hair and his outfits.
Really, yeah.
So
yeah.
he is the eccentric, genius programmer, CEO, founder of this company, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And we are going to learn a lot more about what it is that's making this man tick to the degree that, like, him and Allison Pill watching dude choke him out with a bag was just... He has been
tough.
there too many
That was
times.
intense. Yeah.
Nick Offerman has been in those forests watching people get got with a plastic bag too many times.
Yeah, and then he and Allison Pill are sitting out in front of devs and they're having that conversation, and he says something like, I know it shouldn't be this hard, and she talks about how it is because basically, like, even if a human knows everything, even if they're she talks about God, like, even if this is the most brilliant person on earth, they know all the answers to the universe, and their kid gets sick, like, that person starts praying, right?
Yep.
And so that kind of also pushed us in that direction of something along the lines of Forrest knew maybe he knew he was going to have to kill, that they were going to have to kill Sergei, right?
Right. Well, he's definitely ready for him in the woods.
Exactly. That's something that's on the tram lines.
He had seen it,
and yet it was difficult to watch. Do, right?
It didn't seem all that difficult, but he sure says it did. But yeah, no, even when the way he explains that to Sergei, like, you did what you were always going to do, what you had to do, the only thing you could do, and then he, like, takes off and immediately gets got.
Yeah.
That whole sequence was... Nick Offerman has a presence, right, that he can... that you saw with Ron Swanson even. Like,
absolutely.
That when he's on screen, he's that dude. And sort of seeing him be able to exert that in a dark way is going to be neat, because we've only, like you said, we've only really seen him play this very machismo, hilarious version of the most manly man on earth, basically.
Yeah.
And now he's a coding nerd who lost his daughter and has the worst haircut since Dumb and Dumber. So it's like, it is a nice little departure for me from his normal shit. Yeah. And I can't wait to see how they get this thing to unfold, because, man, a lot happened in episode 1. When are you going to watch the second one? I'm going to watch it tonight. I'm not joking.
Yeah, sometime very soon. Couple of shows that I'm very close to wrapping up, and then I think I'll be all in on devs. And have you heard about this ZeroZeroZero show?
I have had a couple people
Amazon?
mention it to me now.
I'm just going to tell y'all straight up, the Hunters on Amazon, for some reason, is not pushing my buttons.
Really?
I have not watched any of it, so maybe I'd love it.
Okay, we have to try the first episode because people are screaming
it
at me.
There's just something about it that's not like, it's just not doing it for me. It's not
trailer-wise.
It's not piquing my interest really. I don't know why. Maybe because the whole, like, killing Nazis thing feels like it's been done a lot.
Oh, I love it. You can't kill enough Nazis.
I know, but
they all gotta go. But I'll just say, I am obsessed with, like, World War II and the Third Reich and, like, all of that shit and how it unfolded. So anything that plays with it, I'm in on.
Yeah.
I'm an easy sell on World War II.
Well, so there's Hunters, obviously, that I know a lot of people have been chirping at us about. And now ZeroZeroZero, on the other hand, I haven't even seen a trailer, and I'm very geared up for that.
Now, let me give you the premise for Hunters.
Okay,
because it's at least intriguing to me. Nazi hunters discover hundreds of high-ranking Nazi officials in 1977 New York City conspiring to create a Fourth Reich in the U.S. The hunters set out to bring the Nazis to justice and thwart their new genocidal plans. So it's like, well, first of all, we did bring a shitload of Nazis to the United States. Mm-hmm. That was a thing that happened. Actually, we as like a collective, like UN, we just scooped up all the Nazi scientists that were doing all that horrible shit and took them over to, like, all our different countries, and we're like, all right, back in the lab, bitch, but doing stuff that's good. That happened. So, like, they were around, and it's just an interesting thing to play with, perhaps, if, like, 30 years removed from World War II, some of the Nazis were like, let's do it again, but here.
Right.
And then Al Pacino was like, fuck no. We'll see.
I might be bumping up against the Al Pacino casting.
Because he's old as fuck.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. It's the only concern I have.
Okay.
Like, it's the only thing that's had me thinking, like, really? Hunters? But people, dude, I'm like 30 people-ish.
No, it was definitely Hunters and Devs, I think, were the most popular requests so far. So
I'll at least try it out. Maybe I'll try it out and just see if I have time. And if you're trying something else, we're going to be talking about all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
We're stuck in our fucking houses, both of us, fortunately. But yeah, Devs was great. Stoked on that.
Yeah.
Excited to have it.
But yes, anyways, I think that it's safe to say that we'll be up through episode 3 at least.
I think that's
by
fair.
next week's podcast. Yeah.
Let's say 1 through 3 then
Yeah.
for next week. This episode of OCC is brought to you by Liquid IV. Everybody's talking about Liquid IV's hydration multiplier. You should be crushing those every single day. I had one before the studio today during these trying times where we're all trying to stay well and healthy. And you've heard how much I love that Liquid IV hydration multiplier for years now. But have you heard of their latest product, Liquid IV Energy Multiplier? Their energy multiplier tastes amazing. Just like their lemon lime flavor, you just mix it in water and you drink it. It gives you sustained energy boost with no crash. You can pound one before a workout. You know, in the morning, replace one of your cups of coffee if you want to or whatever, Barrett. Half of Americans report they fight with daily fatigue. The symptoms are obviously decreased focus, lack of motivation, poor mood, unhappiness, all these things that nobody wants. So you get Liquid IV's hydration multiplier, you get their energy multiplier, and you start smashing. The hydration multiplier carries premium matcha and green energy blend. It tastes delicious and provides a lasting energy boost throughout the day. That's the energy multiplier, Again, it's the fatigue-fighting boost you'd get from a couple cups of coffee without the crash. It contains a mixture of teas and herbs high in antioxidants that help improve mood and focus. Healthy things. Liquid IV tastes great, keeps my busy ass hydrated on the go, and their energy multiplier has been massive for me in cutting out that extra cup of coffee around noon or 2, depending on what my day looks like. Avoiding trashy energy drinks that melt my insides. Love Liquid IV. Get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com. Use the code DRAGON at checkout. 25% off Liquid IV's website, liquidiv.com. Promo code DRAGON. 25% off and get better hydration and energy today. Don't wait. Start fueling your adventures now. liquidiv.com. Promo code DRAGON. Westworld is back.
Before we do that,
though.
So tomorrow on Patreon, we are doing our top 5 desert island shows.
We are.
That will be, you're on an island, you're on a desert island, you only have 5 shows forever, for the rest of your life.
And you can watch them as many times as you want.
You can watch them as many times as you want.
But you only get 5.
So that's a different category than what I would binge right now under house arrest.
Oh, very different.
So what I wanted to do is, as a special treat in these difficult times, this is something that up until now only Patreon has been able to know. But I'm going to go ahead and give the entire Clam fam my 2019 top 10.
For people to watch.
Because
What a treat.
there are some good ones on here that are especially good for binging.
Let's fucking do it.
So, my number 1 show of last year was Succession. It's 2 seasons in. The 3rd is hopefully still releasing this year. Absolute must watch. You will crush these 20 episodes, and it's some of the best TV out there.
If you haven't watched Succession, the man just gave you a gift.
That is
to pass the time.
That is absolutely right.
And we have coverage of it on many episodes of this show that you can go back and listen to.
My number 2 was Watchmen. Great show. Maybe a little too existential crisis-y for the current times, but awesome if you haven't seen it. 3 was Fleabag. 4 was Barry. 5 was Pen 15. Pen 15 is one I would like to highlight as a must binge while you are catching up and hanging out at your house.
Will make you feel better?
Because it went under the radar.
I didn't watch it.
A little bit, but it's a 30-minute comedy, and it's just going to give you like major nostalgia endorphins. You're going to watch it, you're going to think of simpler times, you're going to think of your middle school friends, and it's just like very, very funny.
I need this.
But also I like super, if you like awkward kind of cringy stuff too.
Like Meet the Parents?
Yes.
I fucking love Meet the Parents.
Or The Office even.
Oh, love it. Michael Scott humor?
Yeah, Michael Scott type stuff. Then Pen 15 is, that's on Hulu, right up your alley.
My number 1 was Chernobyl.
My number 6 is Chernobyl. Again, when Dr. Birx on that one press conference lifted up the sign, and we all knew that there were going to be thousands of memes.
Photoshops, yeah.
The first one that I thought of was
the Chernobyl charts.
The Chernobyl chart at trial. I was like, oh god! And then within seconds, it was up.
Yeah, we saw it immediately.
Again, not sure that like watching disaster stuff is exactly what you want to binge during a disaster.
I think it's like kind of helpful though, because it's like, well, at least I'm not naked scooping up radioactive material at Chernobyl.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. My 7th was Euphoria, also supposed to, or at least filming right now. I think it might be returning later this. Well,
a lot of this shit they've delayed.
Productions,
a lot of productions are getting delayed.
So, that was a great show. Here's another one that I'm highlighting for binge watching. It's on Netflix. It's Russian Doll.
Ooh.
And this is one where it actually benefits from the binge because it's kind of repetitive in its nature. Has a kind of a Groundhog Day thing going on.
Okay.
So it makes a lot of sense to just kind of crush this one. 30-minute episodes. Russian Doll, very, very good. 9 was Mindhunter, and 10 was Sex Education. Sex Education just released their 2nd season on Netflix within the last 6-7 weeks or so. I have one more episode to go. The 2nd season has been really good.
Really?
And I loved the 1st season. Obviously, it made my top 10. Not sure that season 2 is going to make my top 10. It was very novel, its first season.
Sure.
But again, two seasons, so you can get through them relatively quickly. And, just...
For season 1, it was just like, there was just like wasn't enough sex in my life at that point. So I couldn't enjoy Sex Education.
Well,
I couldn't watch the children masturbate, Barrett.
And I didn't... I have a hard time pitching this show on this podcast. I've put my foot in my mouth
a couple times
on this podcast, and so I'm not going to comment any further.
That's good.
On Sex Education on Netflix.
I tried
other than to say that I enjoyed the show.
I tried to draw you back in, admittedly, and you walked away from it, and I applaud that. It was a smart move. That's Barrett's top 10 from 2019.
That was my top 10
for
from 2019
to binge.
But previously unknown to the Clam fam at large. Now you all have the information. Do with
Secrets
it.
revealed.
Do with it what you will. And then obviously tomorrow we're each going to give you 5 shows that might not, be the ones that we highly recommend binging right this second, but they will be good options because they're some of the best.
Can't wait. My number 1 will shock you all. No, it won't.
Can't wait.
It won't shock anybody. The number 1 won't shock anybody. Some of my other ones might. Okay, Westworld.
Let's talk about Westworld real quick.
Season 3, episode 1. We launch out of the parks. But first of all, let me say, Freeze All Motor Functions is our Westworld dedicated podcast here at Bolen Media, where Jared Borislow breaks down in great detail everything that happened in the episode to a degree that Barrett and I are not going to do. And then I ask questions. What we'll do here is generally discuss sort of the happenings of the episode very quickly each week to keep up to speed with the way things are going in Westworld. But Freeze All Motor Functions is going to be your go-to if you're looking for
your
deep
companion
dives.
podcast.
Your companion podcast will be FAMF. Freeze All Motor Functions, available wherever Oysters, Clams, and Cockles is available. But, Barrett, for our purposes, we're out of the parks. We've got Aaron Paul in the mix, and he is a beaten down, regular-ass human being who is essentially going against the grain of technology. He doesn't have the implant in his head that many people have. We're introduced to this implant concept and these eating of these little, as Jared's been putting it, Listerine strips.
Are they sleepers? They're sleepers, right?
One of them that dude takes to go to sleep, but I think they can do many different things.
Okay.
I get an SSRI antidepressant vibe from this, like there's a pill for everything.
Gotcha.
You take this to go to sleep. You take this to be happy. You know what I'm saying? So we get introduced to it's like, everything we're playing with right now is so futuristic that it's kind of freaky. But this dude is very unhappy with the world. He wants something real. His boy Kid Cudi's dead. They were in a war of some kind.
Yep.
This was some kind of therapy subscription situation where he was able to communicate with his buddy or remember him or whatever. And by the end of the episode, of course, he's decided, like, I gotta no more. Fuck this.
Can't do it.
Enough is enough.
Yeah.
I need something real so bad. And then he discovers, of course, Dolores in this tunnel, nearly dead. And she is, of course, arguably not real. Or that's the thing we'll be playing with, of course.
Yeah.
And it was a reminder also, just that scene before we exit the tunnel vision, no pun intended, she can be killed. And Dolores can be hurt. And well, killed isn't the right word. Because she's got that ball in her head, right, that you can pull out and stick into another body. But she's bleeding out here. Like, fluid's coming out. She's in bad shape. She needs help. This human helps her. And obviously, the rest of the episode, what we saw her doing, Barrett, was pretty much going on little hit missions, taking out top-ranking dudes who not only are doing shady shit in the real world that she's trying to fuck with, but also all guests at the park who happen to, at one point or another, rape and murder her, probably. So, yeah.
Little vengeance tour.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The way she offs that one dude by getting him to knock himself to death with using the hologram was some disrespectful shit.
So Evan Rachel Wood in this episode, my goodness, she is fabulous. A bit of a throwback, something that I don't feel like we've seen in recent TV and film. Maybe I'm way off. Maybe I just haven't seen any of it. But I'm getting like big femme fatale vibes from her.
Yeah.
Right? She's like this like shadowy, sexy figure.
She's in a pencil skirt on a motorcycle, bro.
The pencil skirt on the motorcycle was next level shit.
I was pausing, rewinding.
That was just... There were a lot of great visuals on this episode.
But that was nuts.
And that was awesome.
Red
and not just
pencil
because
skirt.
she looked so good, just because it was just
visually,
very
it was
visually stunning. Yeah.
It was dope.
So I'm really digging her. Also, really glad to see that Chappie. Do you remember Chappie?
Oh yeah.
He's back.
I also call him Pathfinder.
Pathfinder?
Pathfinder is Chappie, basically. Same exact thing.
Okay.
But it's in the Apex Legends video game.
All right. Well, now Chappie is George. Aaron Paul's work buddy.
His
who
colleague.
Tags along with him and helps him do his construction stuff. But, I never thought Chappie got enough shine. And he would say cool things like, I am Chappie.
Uh-huh.
And so, now he's back as George, and I'm happy that he's getting another break in Hollywood.
But they need to eat closer to the ground. That made me very uncomfortable watching these Chappie and Aaron Paul eat lunch that high up in the air.
Some other notes on this episode for me. We mentioned before going into this season how unbelievable the trailer looked, how expensive it looked.
Yeah.
I don't know what HBO is spending on this show, but it has to be more than they were spending on even Game of Thrones.
I feel like we would have heard if it was.
Maybe not with all of the insane set building. So I actually take that back. Game of Thrones literally built entire cities for production. And this one is using Singapore, another note, to absolutely fantastic degree. Like, Singapore is perfect for
Which
this.
we find out in the post-show deal.
Yeah.
They really nailed that.
Just a great setting. It just looks right. But the show looks fantastic. And I wasn't a huge fan of season 2 of Westworld. I think it really kind of missed the mark and lost itself in the sauce, if you will.
Sure.
And I am so thrilled that we are out of the parks.
Yes.
Because that is something that we've said, or at least season 1 certainly posed that question to us, right? Well, what is the world that Westworld can exist in?
Right.
How has this happened? What does the outside world look like? And so the fact that we are getting this shift to that is very, very thrilling because, to be completely honest, this show feels like a new show. I feel like I'm watching a new show.
Completely different, right. You could start it from not having seen 1 and 2, I feel like, and be okay here.
Yeah.
Which may have been part of their intention.
Bernard is going back to Westworld, obviously, and we seem to get another dose of confirmation that Westworld is off of China somewhere,
Sure, yes.
Which is interesting. We get in the post credits, we get a first look at what I believe you called Third Reich World. I referred to it as World War II World.
I've seen War World.
World.
Because I've seen people arguing that it wouldn't make sense for it to just be World War II because why the fuck would anybody go to that park? It's got to be all the wars and you pick which one you want to experience or something.
Maybe.
It's just for anti-Semites or Nazi haters, one or the other.
So that's actually my one fear so far. Is that I don't want to get back into like some big arduous thing about like
we're back in the goddamn Nazi world.
Traipsing through Samurai World.
Yeah, that was the miss for me.
Not great.
Look,
so I don't want to do that
with
again
you.
because what's happening with Aaron Paul and Evan Rachel Wood.
Yeah.
With Dolores and what's his name? Do we know his name?
No, I'll look it up.
Can't remember. What's happening
Cameron?
with
Cal.
Thank you, Caleb. Yeah. What's happening with Cal and Dolores in regular real world that Westworld also happens to exist in is just like so much more interesting to me at this point.
Yeah, no, I feel you, and I'm a little worried about that too. It's one of my fears because for me, I was the same. Season 1, one of the best seasons of TV I've ever seen. Season 2, I was like, God damn it. And then season 3, we're doing what I wish we had done with 2, which is sort of a lot of people's school of thought that this was always the plan, and they needed more time to get to it.
Yeah, Lisa Joy and
Christopher Nolan, Jonathan Nolan.
Jonathan Nolan. Say that this was the plan all along. That season 3 is when they broke out of the parks. Basically.
Gotcha.
Also, just for the out of the parks, a lot of Blade Runner vibes, and I'm very, very much here for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like it's. I know that they're, maybe there's criticism there that they're heavily borrowing from that aesthetic.
Fuck that.
But it's the right aesthetic.
Yes,
like
it's the
there's a
move.
reason,
Dude, it looks so good.
It looks
Everything
so
about that
good,
world
yeah.
they've got going right now looks so good, so real. Like you said, they're using Singapore to an enormous degree to fucking keep real buildings and shit instead of having to CGI everything.
Yeah. I'm sure that we're in for many twists and turns along the way, but, and again, it's one episode, so who knows. But right now, the setup also doesn't feel
Nearly as complicated, right?
nearly as complicated.
I'm totally with you on this. It's the first episode of Westworld I've ever watched. Ever.
Where you're like, oh, I'm
Where at
grasping
the end
some
of it,
things.
I knew... No, I felt like, not just that, I felt like I had grasped all of the important things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, here's the setup. After episode 1 of season 1 or season 2, you're like, I have no fucking what, dude? Who? This is a totally different ballgame.
Yeah.
And they have really shifted that sort of feel from, you're going to be confused all the time. We're not giving you shit. To like, look, here's the setup. Here are the characters. Badass shit's about to happen.
Yeah.
Strap in. It's the future.
Quick head nod to G, played by Marshawn Lynch,
Giggles.
who, is that what that
Full
stands
name's
for?
Giggles. That shirt, man.
He was amused for almost all of the episode, except for I caught him angry one time when he was punching a guy who was super high on LSD or something.
And naked.
Naked, super high and naked on, or what did they call him? It's a word that I know for drugs. Mike, do you happen to remember what they called
was
it?
Smack or dope or...
No. It was like the new wave of drugs. It's not nootropics or, but it was like the type of drugs that he was on.
Now I can only
don't
think of nootropics.
So Marshawn was cool. Interested to see if they continue bringing him back. Acting wise, I was very impressed by Aaron Paul.
Tell me why.
So it's something that Lisa Joy speaks to in that post-credits scene, but he's really, really good at capturing kind of like beaten down everyman.
Boom. He brought just enough of that from Jesse.
Yes.
That fucking
Yes.
feeling of like suppressed, beaten down, the
Like-
world has trashed me.
Yep.
But it's not that dumbass gangster character from Breaking Bad. It's
Yes.
this real construction dude who also, for whatever reason, works a Grand Theft Auto app to do crimes at night.
They got him looking good.
He's not
He's not
a
trying
thick
to he's
boy.
not trying to be Jesse Pinkman with a double chin. He looks just like Aaron Paul. He looks like a 40-year-old Aaron Paul. So he's looking sharp in this one, which adds to it.
Oh, yeah.
That you called it out, and I'm not surprised, because if you did not think of Grand Theft Auto when you saw the Rico app,
Dude.
there's something wrong with you, or you've never played Grand Theft Auto.
Or
I
you've
guess.
never played Grand Theft Auto.
Because as soon as that app pops up, it's like, oh, it's a Grand Theft Auto app.
The cheesiness of it and like the no, I want to stay broke, or fuck yeah, let's do crime, or whatever it says, was like so Grand Theft Auto, man. Like everything about that was, I loved that they pulled that vibe.
It was like, no, I'm a basic bitch.
Yeah.
Or fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Were the two options.
Yeah,
I paused on the one that he chooses to like read the, meet the courier at drop A, or the stuff
Right.
that it says. Make money, motherfucker.
Make money, motherfuckers. Dude,
Even
I love
that,
it.
like even that was so video game.
I love that they pulled that element though. That
It's
feel of
very
like
cool. Very cool.
it's even more dystopian, and that's so real. Like I said this on FAMP, but like there are apps, bro, that people use every single day that are encrypted in that way to where they're literally the only purpose is for illegal activity.
Mm-hmm.
Like that type of shit already goes on. This is just what we're looking at, like in a future evolution where it's literally a social media app that provides you with jobs to go do illegal shit.
Yes, and the stock market, it's all down right now. Bitcoin as well. But I saw Rico app. Everybody's getting paid by the blockchain.
Oh, yeah.
By the Bitcoin, by the crypto. And I was like, man, I'm holding on to this Bitcoin.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, you never know when it's going to come in handy.
Barrett, it might soar. And then you'll need it for your Rico app.
But I loved Rico app. All in all, I'm just this was a very, very solid
Great start. I was like, thank
episode
you.
1 of the season.
Because I like you, I think I was a little concerned with, I wanted out of the parks so bad, even in season 1, really. Like, I was like, please, let's get out of here by the end of the season. Just the parks were dope, but I wanted to see this world.
Mm-hmm.
And we're there, and they've unfolded episode 1 in a way where it's like, again, pretty deliberate. Didn't feel so confusing that I was like, damn it, I can't really tell what we're doing.
Yeah.
and I like the direction, and it seems much less complicated than we normally have had to deal with Westworld, which was honestly always to a fault.
Yeah.
They always made it a little bit too confusing for everybody, for millions of people to sit down and be like, okay.
Yeah.
So I like what we've got going.
I'm sure you and Jared, did you guys do some robo theorizing,
We
stuff
did,
like
sir.
that?
We
I
did.
have not dived into any of that, so I will. If you want more robo
I can't even say it. Jared says it perfectly.
I was
never said it.
able to say it while watching the episode, and now I can't say it.
I won't even attempt it. I haven't yet at all, and I won't.
Roboam, something like that. Anyway,
But a Google computer thing.
FAMP for the theorizing. I don't know yet. I haven't even really looked into it.
Haven't met the architect.
Seems cool.
Haven't met the architect, the guy who built it.
Uh-huh.
We don't know who's running it, and we don't know any of the what purpose or whatever. We know Vincent Castle, I believe, is his name.
Yeah.
Is going to be.
Oh, he's popping up sometime.
He's either going to be. He's going to be somewhere on that side of things. So we will see. But Westworld season 3, episode 1, phenomenal start to the season.
Another newsroom alum, the guy that the
Oh
son.
Yeah. The one that at first you're that Dolores just fucking
Yep.
uses the shit out of this dude.
HBO. They take care of their own. How
They
about
do, man. I'm telling you, always. Westworld coverage all season long here, briefly the way we did today, in great detail with deep dives as your companion podcast, Freeze All Motor Functions, available wherever OCC is available, as I said. That will do it for today's episode of OCC. Huge thanks to our sponsors, Felix Gray and Liquid IV. Go to felixgrayglasses.com/OCC. Go to liquidiv.com and use the code DRAGON. Support our sponsors as they support us and keep us going. And if you need another way to support this show and you want more OCC ad-free, you know where to get it. Patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles, where Barrett, let's go ahead and announce what we're going to be doing. It's big time. I'm going to let you say it. It was your idea.
Okay. Well, it's not even really my idea.
Well, it counts as your idea.
It really it has come in large part from the Clam fam because as many of you have pointed out,
Indeed.
the Night's Rewatch is not technically complete.
We haven't finished, Barrett.
We didn't actually ever rewatch season 8.
There's one more season.
There's one more season
to Night's Rewatch.
to Night's Rewatch.
At night.
At night.
As part of the Night's Rewatch. As brothers and sisters of the Night's Rewatch, it is time.
It could not come at a better moment.
It is time.
Everybody is locked down in their house for the most part. You got lots to watch.
It's been a year, Barrett.
And it has been exactly when we launch next month on Patreon.
It will have been a year.
It will have been exactly a year since season 8 debuted. So the timing is right. But that is correct. We will be doing the Night's Rewatch season 8 on Patreon in the months of April and May.
Every episode of season 8, April and May, we're going to go through each and every one. We're going to do just the way we did back in the day. This podcast, if you're new here, by the way, we were formerly the #1 Game of Thrones podcast in the realm and in the world. And every single episode of Game of Thrones, we went through and broke down and discussed in great detail, as we're doing now with Westworld on Freeze All Motor Functions or whatever. But like, if you never got to experience that, it is so much fun. And Barrett and I have such a blast watching Game of Thrones and talking Game of Thrones with everybody that it only made sense to bring it back for those of y'all who want it on patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles in April and May. We can't wait. I haven't watched a single episode again since you and I finished, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, I
know.
legit walked away from the game of Thrones.
We were out, and they brought us back in.
Just when I think I'm out,
We're going to do 3 episodes in April,
they bring me back in.
3 in May. But in both of those months, we will, of course, have our hotline episode. You can call in with takes about anything we've been talking about, but also Game of Thrones takes during our rewatch. Very, very welcome and encouraged as well. Those will be for the Mollusk Militia only.
Oh, yeah.
If you need another reason to join the Patreon now, if you have not, there are 5 weeks in April. And even though we usually only do 4 podcasts in a Patreon month, even in those extended months, we're going to do 5 in April. Cherry on top, bonus pod for April.
Boom!
Just because we're dropping content. We're
here for you.
We're people helping people. Support small business. That is Bolen Media. It's a small business. It has literally one full-time employee.
Yeah, it's me.
And then I'm a contract worker. So by supporting Bolen Media, you're also supporting me.
You are.
And we gotta stay up and running.
We do, Barrett.
And
shit's gonna get weird here.
It's gonna get weird.
Admittedly, gonna get weird. You and I need the support. We want to keep the show going, keep our podcast going as best we can.
For April, if you join the Crustacean Nation, you will get 4 podcasts. If you join the Mollusk Militia, you will get 5 additional podcasts.
A fifth. How about that?
Fifth.
F-I-F.
F-I-F. Fifth.
That's a Dave Chappelle reference. Very, very stoked to complete the Night's Rewatch. Barrett, we will have to finally make those official Night's Rewatch T-shirts that we've always discussed.
We should do that.
And get for when we reach the end.
Yeah, and Oyster Claim Co. T-shirts coming later this year.
Of course. Can't wait for that. Game of Thrones fans, we have missed it just as much as you have. And we cannot wait to watch it again and discuss it. Season 8, Game of Thrones, April, May, patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. Sign up now. Go get the top 5 living actors this month. Go get the Throwback Movie Club Ex Machina, the Hotline Call Extravaganza, and the Mollusk Militia.
That's the thing, is you might as well join now because it's Robot Month.
It's Robot Month, baby. And you're stuck. Come through, support us, get more OCC. Again, everything on patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles is ad-free. And we are so psyched to finish out the Night's Rewatch with y'all there in the coming months. Follow us on social media for updates on the best in TV and film content that you can find on the whole of the internet. On Instagram at Oysters, Clams, Cockles. On Twitter at Clams and Cockles. We're also on Facebook.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. You can follow me, Ross Bolen, at WR Bolen on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. My show, The Ross Bolen Podcast, is available wherever OCC is available. And that's all I have to say about that. Mr. Dudley, where can we follow you on the social medias and hear more of your beautiful voice?
Follow me at Barrett Dudley, Twitter and Instagram, and check out the Club Cool podcast wherever you're listening to OCC. We meet at the intersection of style and pop culture.
Hot.
I don't know what we're going to talk about this week, man. Crazy times that we're living in, huh?
This shit's fucking outrageous. Every day I wake up and I'm like, what?
What a time to be alive. This is day 2, and I feel like it's been 4 years already.
I keep trying to say what day we're on. I'm like, dude, it's like day 9, and we're all losing our minds. Like, it's day 4, and we're going crazy out here.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that the weekend was the real start, but
okay.
I kind of was starting with like Monday as the week beginning, and now Monday really started with all of the social distancing, closing every state and city is like closing bars and restaurants, the whole shebang. So
this is week 1 to you.
This is week 1.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Hopefully not too many, but for however many there are, we will be here bringing you everything that we can in the best in TV and film and trying to get y'all as much good TV and film to watch to pass the fucking time. Frankly, we could all get cabin fever in here, Barrett.
Oh, I've got it, baby. It's been nice to get out of the house today a little bit.
I've been telling people this, but I actually quarantined back in October, and I was ready to get out of it, and I like self-quarantined, not for health purposes, for social purposes, and now you're all quarantined, and what the fuck? The timing, dude. God. Excuse me. That's a weed cough, not a corona cough. The timing was just impeccable. Literally 2 weeks ago, I was like, I'm back, baby! And then this virus hit, and I was like, and back indoors.
Yeah.
Now we're watching Devs. Love y'all. Thanks for supporting the show. Be sure you listen to the Ross Bolen Podcast, Club Cool, Freeze All Motor Functions, support all the Bolen Media shows, and Barrett's show as well. Until our next helping, adios, muchachos.
Bye-bye.